So we are going to go ahead and start the recording button. Okay, so welcome today to Concurrent HRO's Employee Registration and Benefit Enrollment Instructions. On today's call, we are going to do a team introduction for the Concurrent HRO team. We are going to talk about who Concurrent HRO is so you get an understanding of who we are. Additionally, we will be going through the benefits enrollment and benefit offerings. And further, we will be going through the employee self-service registration portal. We will be going through a reminder of the due date. So go ahead, if you have a pen and paper on today's call, go ahead, write down our due date is going to be December 23rd for all of the information. That is next Wednesday. Note that this is very close to the holidays, very close to the end of the month. So if you can return your information as quick as possible to us, that would be ideal prior to the 23rd date. Julie will also go into reminding you about this. So the information that I'm speaking of that will be due back to Concurrent HRO is going to be the employee self-service registration and the benefits enrollment. A couple of housekeeping items before we jump into those. On today's call, we have myself, Kasha Heiser, Director of Human Resources. We have Julie Butler, Senior Human Resource and Benefits Director. We have Irv Rosen, our Managing Partner. Jenny Holm, one of our Business Development Managers. We have Bill Deerenforth, and he is an additional business manager who we could have not had this call and partnership possible without these individuals. Note, additional housekeeping item is if you do have questions for us today, please go ahead and put them in the chat box of the Zoom, and that chat is located on the bottom of your screen. So throughout the call, we are going to keep everybody muted. So please put your questions in the chat box and we will get to those throughout the presentation. Additionally, we will have time at the end for some questions. Okay. And additionally, we are going to put our contact information inside the chat here now, so you have that alert and can see the chat box. Okay, so who is Concurrent HRO? Concurrent HRO is a human resource management firm, popularly referred to as a professional employer organization, or PEO. We are in co-employment with AirPro, and your company has enlisted our services to help with administering payroll, employee benefits, human resources, and risk management. So I want to assure everyone, by Concurrent HRO's partnership with AirPro, your day-to-day operations will not change. So continuing to work with your management team on a day-to-day basis, Concurrent HRO is just on the back end of things to help with administration. Our goal today is to provide you with the best benefits and employee services possible. And you will note throughout today's call, we will have our phone number, email throughout the presentation we will refer to. We are a local PEO in the Broomfield, Colorado area. And so we do pride ourselves on that customer service piece. So if any questions you have during this process, during onboarding, we want to make sure that those are answered. And then going forward, if you have any questions, please reach out. Okay, so as I mentioned, you will be receiving one of two emails. The first one is for the employee portal registration. This is going to come from our payroll email, and we utilize a system called Prism. So this employee registration, if you are going to access the employee portal in the future, you would go to concurrenthro.com, step 1. Access the employee login screen in step 2. So you will note on the top right of our page will be a drop down for a login employee screen. And then you'll be taken to the login page, step 3. So the first email you will be receiving will actually take you directly to step 3. So you do not need to worry about step 1 and 2, and you will begin registering as an employee. Some tips and hints that we see very helpful through this process is please ensure your pop-up blockers are disabled. Our site uses additional applications in order to view additional pages that pop up. For example, your pay stub will show up in a separate page, a PDF document, so it's easy to print. So make sure those pop-up blockers are disabled. Additionally, Google Chrome and Microsoft Explorer or Edge work best as browsers if you're utilizing your computer. If you are utilizing a smart device, we do not have an app at this point, but our site is mobile friendly. So the site will convert to your mobile device and you'll still be able to have easy access there. But if you are using an Apple product, you will need to ensure you are turning off the settings in cross-site tracking. So go to settings, cross-site tracking, make sure that button is switched off. You will see sometimes a spinning triangle, and that's where you know you need to turn off that cross-site tracking. So step 3, so the email that you will be receiving registering as an employee. We have luckily been able to move over some of your information from your previous provider. So we do have general information. So we will be able to utilize your information by last name and social security number to know that it is you. Additionally, at this point, you will be creating a username and password of your choice. So make sure that this is something that you do remember or jot down, because this information will be utilized going forward to access the employee self-service portal. Additionally, the social security must be in just a regular format as you see on the screen. Password, at least 8 characters, must not contain any form of the username, must contain an upper letter, lowercase letter, and 1 number. So at this point, you have accessed the employee portal. Once you go through the registration, you will now be able to view and update your information. So you will be able to go through your payroll information. I do suggest on the left-hand side, there are many tabs. So go through each tab to ensure that your payroll information, direct deposit, tax information is correct from what we retrieved. Just to make sure, because we are using this information to process your payroll. Additionally, the site can be used for anybody who has a time clock. One piece I do want to note is that the information in the portal, if you make changes, it updates right away. So the only piece that does not update right away is going to be your direct deposit for your checking or savings account. So if you change that account and bank number, you are going to be taken through a pre-note process on our end. So that does take 7 to 10 days. So you may see that banking information does not update right away because you do need to wait for that time frame. So just keep that in mind if you make any direct deposit changes. Additionally, you will see our phone number there for payroll, our main line, and our payroll email. So if you have any questions. Okay, as I mentioned, the tabs on the left-hand side with the documents, you will see on the first screenshot of the page that this is what the tabs will look like. So you will see documents, personal information, benefits, payroll, so general information there. So click through the tabs, ensure the information is correct. You will want to make sure personal tax information looks good there. Now in step 3, the bottom screenshot is a documents tab. So important to note here that we are going to be requesting that you complete an employment authorization and acknowledgement form. So click on documents. Once you click on documents, you will select employment authorization in the top screenshot. The second screenshot shows that the first document on the page are instructions. So instructions on how to download and submit our information back to us. We note that some of the browsers are not user-friendly with this. So if at any point you have issues returning back the form, please just email it to payroll@concurrenthro.com. So you can select there the first arrow on the left, and then the second arrow on the top right is going to be the download button. The second document is the actual document we will need for you to sign. It is going to require you to fill out your name, sign, and date. So make sure that you do download this second form. Okay, and you can see here in a separate window, please note those pop-up blockers, separate window will open up that employment authorization and acknowledgement form will appear. Enter your name, date, sign, and then you can click complete form and submit. Okay, so if you have any questions on this form, this 1.5 page, it is essentially allowing Concurrent HRO to process your payroll and benefits. So if at any time you have questions on this, please reach out to our human resources team. At this point, once you register as an employee, you complete this document and verify your information in the portal, you have completed the onboarding process. So this is the first step you have completed. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, turn it over to Julie. Julie is going to walk through the second email that you will be receiving from Julie's email from our EASE portal, and that is going to be for the benefits enrollment.
Thank you, Kasha. As Kasha mentioned, those 2 emails you're receiving, you should have actually already received them last Friday after we did the first call. We did send out both of those emails to everybody. If you have not received either of those emails, please make sure you contact us and let us know. If you don't receive that first one with the information Kasha reviewed, please reach out to payroll@concurrenthro.com. And if you did not receive your benefit enrollment link that came from my email, please reach out to benefits@concurrenthro.com. A couple of things I want to highlight as we go through this process. You will be creating a password for this site as well. You can utilize the one you created in Prism, or you can create a different one. Just make sure you do write it down. For this EASE portal that we'll be using for your benefit enrollment, you will only need to be accessing this system when you do complete your benefit enrollment at this time, and then again when we have open enrollment next fall. So it's not a system that you'll be accessing day to day as you move forward. Also want to highlight out to you, your benefits are going to be effective January 1st. And they will go until October 31st. This is because our typical plan year is actually November 1st to October 31st. So you guys are coming in just after we started this new plan year. So your elections will be for 10 months, not the full 12 months. However, do note that HSA or FSA contributions or your deductibles do run on a calendar year. So those will go for the full year. Also note you won't be able to make any changes to your benefits during the year unless you experience a qualifying life event, and we will go through some of those examples in just a few moments. The email you received, which should look familiar to the one on the screen, at the bottom, you're going to simply hit the sign up button. It's going to take you into the next screen where you'll want to create your password, reconfirm that password, and then check mark the agree to terms and services. The terms and services on this site are simply to allow us to pull your elections and enroll you with the carriers. After you've entered that, you'll hit that sign up button again. It's going to take you into a next screen that's going to show open enrollment. And for here, you just click that start enrollment. Note that as you go through this process, it does state here on the screen that it can take 15 to 25 minutes. However, if you already know your benefit options that you're going to select ahead of time, this process can go much quicker and can usually be completed in 10 minutes or less. You will want to make sure that you have all your information handy. Specifically, if you're going to be enrolling any dependents, you will need their social security number and date of birth. Also note that if you do have to exit the system, if you get interrupted or you need to exit and come back later, your progress is saved. So you can come and go from the system as you need to complete the options. Then you'll hit that start button. And it's going to take you into the personal information screen. As Kasha mentioned with the other program, we have been able to pre-populate some of your information. Please double check all of this information, specifically social security numbers and dates of birth. The information we pull from this system is what we use to enroll you with the insurance carriers. So we don't want to see anybody have any claims issues because of a Social Security or date of birth error. As you scroll down on that screen, you're also going to see the contact information. This is going to be information related to your address, phone numbers, and emails. So please double check those. Also note, for any section that has a star, that is a necessary field that has to be completed. So if for some reason it doesn't allow you to move forward, it simply means that one of those fields is not complete. The next section you're going to come to is the dependents. So if you want to enroll any dependents, spouse, children, you will need to add them at this time. If you don't add them at this time, when you move forward, you won't see their name listed as an option to enroll in any of the benefits. Note that you don't have to enroll everybody under the same plans. You can select to only cover yourself for medical, and then maybe you're covering your whole family for dental. Dependents don't have to be on all of your choices, but if you want them enrolled in a plan, you do have to enroll yourself as well. So at this point, you'll simply hit that add button. You'll put in their name, social security, and date of birth. And then once you hit continue, it's going to take you to the benefits portion. As you can see there on the left-hand side, it is going to list each of the different options that are available to you. This is just an example on the screen. And what you will do is you will go through each of these different options. You will need to waive or enroll in each of the options. If you click the check mark, that's going to turn green for you want to enroll, or an X for waive as you don't wish to have that benefit. If you did list dependents on the previous screen, those names will be listed below your name here, and you will be required to either check or X on each of them as well. When you scroll down the screen, you're going to see if a benefit plan has options, you'll see each of the plan options available to you there. If you want to compare all the plans side by side, you can click on compare plans and all of those will come up. Also note that any costs that you see on each of the pages are a per month cost. So you will want to make sure you divide that depending upon how often you are paid. As you scroll down, this is an example of something you may see as far as different plan options. If you want to see the plan document summary, under documents, you can click on that PDF and it's going to pull up the plan summary for that option. This is where more of the nitty-gritty details are kind of housed. So if you want to see some of those things, simply pull them up at that point. You can download and save them if you wish to. You'll also see the prices per month. This is going to change based on who you're checking and Xing up above. So say, for example, if you have yourself checked and then your dependents waived, it will show you the cost per month of that employee only coverage. If you change that and suddenly select you and your spouse, it's going to change the pricing to employee and spouse. So this will change depending upon what you have clicked. You'll do that same process through all of those benefit options that are available to you. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a summary of the benefits that you've chosen and any costs that may be involved. This is going to keep a total for you at the bottom so that you can make sure you're within your budget, but also covering yourself and any dependents for any needs that you may have. When you come to the end, you're going to come to the benefit summary. This is where you're going to want to triple check and make sure that each of the benefits is exactly how you want it. If you look through this and you see that you want to change your mind on something, say you selected a dental plan and you want to go back and change it, you can select back on the benefits tab and then just go to dental and make that change and then move on to the summary. You don't need to go through each of the plans again if you're just changing one of them. This is the time where you'll want to print your summary if you'd like to keep a copy of what you're enrolling in. This is the screen that will allow you to do so. You can download that, save it to your computer, or print it out as you need. After the summary page is all correct, you'll move on to the signing of forms. When you sign these forms, it's basically agreeing to allow us to pull that information once again. The first time you hit the sign forms button, a screen will pop up where you will type in your name, and then it will next have you draw your signature with the mouse. At the very end, you're going to come to a screen like this one, and you need to make sure you hit that finish signing button. This is one of the most crucial items. We do not know that you are complete until you hit this finish signing button. So if you haven't hit that button, yet you know you're complete, on our end, we still show you as in progress. So make sure you do hit that button once you are all complete. That comes to the end of the benefit enrollment process through EASE. Again, as Kasha mentioned, if you need any assistance through either of those processes, for the PRISM side, please contact payroll, and for the benefits side, you can contact benefits. Our main number line is also on there as well that you can call and speak with anybody should you need to. All right, moving on to what most people want to know is what benefits are offered to me. Couple things I want to highlight as you're considering your options. You can choose to enroll a legal spouse, civil union partner, common law spouse, or domestic partner. Please note for all of those except for the legal spouse, we do need a signed affidavit. You can also cover your children up to the age of 26. If they do turn 26 during the plan year, they will end their coverage the end of the month in which they turn 26. And at that time, they'll receive COBRA information, also open market options, or perhaps they're employed by somebody who offers insurance that they can pick up. As I mentioned earlier, those qualifying events, if you do experience one of the examples on the screen, such as marriage, divorce, birth of a child, perhaps loss of coverage through a spouse, those are considered qualifying events, and these are the only reasons you can change anything in your benefits during the year. It's important to note that there is a 30-day window in order to make those changes. So please make sure you reach out to us right away if you experience one of these. If it's past the 30 days from that occurrence happening, then we are not able to enroll you. Those are some IRS guidelines. Also note that for most of these, we do need some form of documentation, except for the birth of child. We would need their name, date of birth, and then once you receive their Social Security card, we would need that number as well. Moving on, this is your benefit cost sheet. As you can see here on the screen, you are offered 4 different medical plans to choose from, and we'll go through those in detail in a moment. 3 options for MetLife insurance, as well as an Alpha Dental discount fee-for-service plan, and also a vision plan. You're also going to have the option to enroll in any supplemental life insurance. We have 4 Colonial products we'll discuss, as well as ID and Legal Shield. And there's also a plan called Telehealth that can pair nicely with your medical plan if you choose to enroll in that. As we take a look at the plan options, all of these are through Anthem. The first 3 you see on the screen are kind of your typical copay plans. The first one's an EPO $1,500, and then 2 PPO plans, $2,000 and $6,000. What I want to highlight on the EPO plan, it does have that deductible of $1,500 per person, or the family max of $4,500. Note that if you do select this plan, it is a different network of doctors than the 2 PPO plans also on the screen and the high deductible option we're going to look at in a moment. So it will be very important for you to look to make sure your provider is in network for this plan, as there are not out of network benefits. And we'll go through in just a moment how you can look up your provider. For example, if you do have children and you utilize the Children's Hospital Network, that is not in network for this EPO 1500 plan, so you would want to choose a different option. With this plan though, it does have a coinsurance of 30% on your part after you meet that deductible. For all of our plans, preventative care is covered 100%, so make sure you're going and getting those preventative well checks. These 3 plans, prescriptions are on a tier system, so depending upon which tier your prescription falls in will depend upon the copay price involved with that. As you scroll down through that screen on that EPO, you can see that there may be some additional copays for certain things. And then again, that additional 30% coinsurance after you've met that deductible. I do want to highlight on the out-of-pocket maximums. This is something that's very important to pay attention to on each of the plans. So when we look at the PPO 2000 and 6000, those have that 2000 or 6000 deductible per person, and then the family maxes. As you look at that out-of-pocket max, so with the EPO, you have $4,500 per person, and then you have a $6,000 per person or $7,000 per person on the other plans. And your family max is either $9,000, $12,000, or $14,000. So kind of keep those numbers in your head for just a moment when we look at the high deductible plan. You can see here on the PPO 2000, after you meet that deductible, then most things are a 30% co-insurance until you hit that out-of-pocket max. So that means you'd hit that 2000 deductible for yourself, and then you'd have that co-insurance until you hit a max of 6,000, and then everything would be covered at 100%. The 6,000 plan has that $6,000 deductible, and then after you meet that, then most of the items are covered at 100%. No urgent care or mental health and chiropractic do have some co-pays with those as well. So as we move forward, keeping in mind these out-of-pocket maximums, I want to highlight for you the high deductible 5,000. This is generally one of our most popular plans that people choose to enroll in, and here's some reasons why. So the calendar year deductible, if you are covering only yourself, you do have a $5,000 deductible, but note that's also your out-of-pocket maximum. So once you hit that 5,000, you won't be responsible for any more benefits. Now, it will take until you hit 5,000 before insurance covers anything. So there are contracted rates that providers have with Anthem. You do get those rates, but you are responsible for that full amount until you hit that 5,000. However, if you are covering anybody besides yourself, the calendar year deductible is $6,850 for a family combined. Notice it says family combined and not family max. What this means is that in any form or fashion, as soon as everyone you have covered collectively as a group hits $6,850, after you do that, the entire family is covered at that $6,850. So for example, this could be one person doing 3,000, another person 3,000, and then maybe that third family member does 850. You've then hit that family combined amount and everybody's covered. Or if one person that you're covering has a lot of medical costs or has surgery or something, that one person could meet that 6,850 and the whole family is combined. So taking a look again at those out-of-pocket maximums of 5,000 or 6,850, when we look back at these, the per person is 4,500, 6,000, or 7,000. Now remember, this first one has a different network of doctors. So even just looking at these two with a 6,000 or 7,000 per person, your high deductible is already less than that on your out-of-pockets. We'd like people to pay attention to out-of-pockets. That's worst case scenario should something happen. Also, that family combined, 6,850. On the other plans, you have to have at least 2 people hit their deductibles before you've hit that family maximum. So you're looking at, or I should say, their out-of-pocket maxes before the family max is complete. So you would need 2 people to hit 4,500, 2 people to hit 6,000, or 2 people to hit 7,000 before the family's covered. So a big difference in numbers there. And if you look back at your cost sheet, you'll also note that the high deductible premiums are less per month. So what we encourage a lot of individuals to do is take the difference between what they're paying per month for the high deductible premium and maybe one of these other plans, and you put that into what's called an HSA account. An HSA account is kind of like a savings account. You put money into that each pay period, and it just continues to grow. If you do have a need to go to the doctor, you can use those funds to pay for that. If you don't go to the doctor and don't use all those funds, it stays with you. Should you ever happen to leave the company, your HSA account goes with you. You don't lose those funds. And if you have funds still in your account when you hit retirement, you can use those for some of the retirement needs. So it usually is a win-win situation, whether you have a lot of medical needs or no medical needs. The deductible and the out-of-pocket maximums become a win situation for if you're covering yourself or your family. It's kind of the point of not giving money to the insurance carriers until you have to. You pay that smaller premium, and then should you go to the provider, you would need to pay those rates. It can be a little bit of a sticker shock the first time you go to a your physician and it's not a well check, so maybe it's $150 and you have to pay that full amount. But again, you should have your HSA account that would have funds in that to cover that for you. So hopefully this helps explain how this high deductible plan can be a great option for you to choose if you're covering yourself or your family. Note that if you do have specific questions related to the plans and your individual circumstances, we are happy to talk through those with you. We do want to make sure that you select the best plan that will work for you and your family. Okay. As we move forward here, we do have an app or Anthem has an app called Sydney. We highly encourage you to download this. This is a great way to keep track of your costs, care, benefits, claims, and view and use your digital ID card. So we do know most individuals take their phone with them when they go to the doctor, and maybe you don't like to carry around that hard copy card and you forgot it. You can simply pull up your ID card on this app and use that to show to your provider. So it's a great, easy, compact way to keep track of all of your items, and it's available on both app stores. If you prefer to go the online route, you can also create an account at anthem.com, and that will allow you to access all of the same features just online instead. So we do encourage you to go one of those two different routes to keep track of your medical costs and claims. One of the benefits I mentioned that can be paired and is a great feature with those Anthem plans is something called telehealth. This telehealth benefit has 3 different options available to it. It is $9 a month that you can choose to enroll in voluntarily, and that would cover you and your family. It covers children up to the age of 18. So it's one price for anybody that you are covering as long as they're under 18 or they're a spouse. The first feature is the teledoc feature. So this is something most of us have become more familiar with. It's a virtual visit through which you can do through like a FaceTime method or just speaking with them on the phone. Some of the great benefits with this is they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and every day of the year. So we know doctors' offices aren't available all those times. Should you need to seek treatment for something and you're thinking, I really don't want to go to the urgent care right now with the pandemic, you could set up a call with them where you call in, they'll tell you if there's a wait time, or you can say, just call me back first available, or you can schedule a time. You'll talk with the doctor, go through what's occurring, and that doctor will do one of two things. For many of the cases, maybe you think you have a sinus infection or something, they can provide you a prescription and call that in through this call. If they do feel like you need to see somebody in person, they are going to let you know that. But it's only $15 for one of these calls. I personally used it with my daughter last year. It was a Sunday, something was going on, and neither of us had the desire to go to urgent care, but we knew she needed some treatment. Called in, they called us back within 5 minutes. They spoke with her, diagnosed it, called in a prescription, and we were done in less than 15 minutes. That beats paying that urgent care copay or cost if you're on the high deductible. And they called in the prescription and she was treated. We didn't have to go spend hours in urgent care. So highly recommend this. We do know many providers are still doing telehealth visits, but this is an added benefit should you need some treatment when perhaps they aren't available or you can't get in with them. The second benefit available under this program is a health advocate. This is going to help you kind of go through your different costs and providers. They can help you find a specialist if you're needing one in your area. They can work through your explanation of benefits if you have an issue with that. Also, some different features that they can help you with. They're also available the same thing every day of the week. So great system to utilize to help sure you're making the best choices with the plan that you have. And then the third option is an EAP benefit. This is a completely confidential system where you can call in and get professional counseling or work-life support, anything that you might need. They'll schedule sessions with you, and then after a few of those sessions, if they feel like you need long-term support, they will set you up with either counseling or a specialist in your area. So it's a great way if you just have some things you need to talk through with someone. Use this benefit. Again, it's confidential, and we've really seen it help a lot of people out. All right, as we move forward and look at the 3 dental plans, the first 3 are going to be through MetLife. These are your typical insurance plans. We have a high, a mid, and a low, and the calendar year benefit maximums are 2,500, 1,500, or 750. Those are some of the major differences in these plans is what's the annual amount that they'll cover per person. All preventative services by all 3 plans are covered 100% as long as you stay in network. With dentists, it is important for you to actually ask them specifically, are you in network? Not just if they accept it, but that they're in network. Many dentists will say, oh yeah, we take MetLife, but that doesn't mean that they're in network. And as you can see on the screen, the percentages are different based upon what the insurance will cover, based upon if they're in or out of network. So you can maximize your benefits if you are staying in network. Also know that if you do need orthodontic care for any children, you would want to go with the high plan. It's going to cover at 50% up to $1,000 lifetime maximum. So we know orthodontic treatment isn't cheap and every little bit helps. So if you do need that benefit, make sure you select that high plan. Otherwise, the mid plan or low plan may be just as sufficient for you. Note that with MetLife, you do not receive an ID card from them. Important to remember that. You simply just supply your social security number and date of birth, and they look you up in the system. The fourth option you have when it comes to dental is something else called a discounted fee for service plan. Basically, what this means is there is a network of dentists that are in this plan, and there are set co-pays that apply for each service. So even if you do go get your teeth cleaned, you may have a $25 copay or something. This can be a great plan if you don't have a lot of medical needs. The premium costs may be a little lower, and some people just want something to cover them. But no, it was important to make sure you have a dentist in their network that you would feel comfortable going to. A lot of them are like Comfort Dental offices. Most of the other private dental offices are going to be under that MetLife plan. To find more information or to look up your provider, you can follow this link down here on the screen. And then we also have the vision insurance plan. This is just one plan that's available to you, and it's a wonderful plan. It does also have in and out networks, in and out of network benefits. And as you can see on the screen, for most of the in-network, it's a copay, whereas for out-of-network, it's an allowance. Basically, that means if you go to a vision provider for an eye exam in-network, you're only going to pay the $25. If they're out-of-network, insurance will cover $45, but perhaps that visit is $150. You would be responsible for the rest of that difference between that $45 and $150. So again, you can maximize your benefits as long as you stay in network. You also want to ask your vision provider if they're in network and not just accepting of MetLife as well. And then you can also see how often they'll cover exams, frames, and lenses. There is also no ID card that is necessary when you see a vision provider. So please also note you just provide them with your social security card and date of birth, and they can look you up in the system. We've talked quite a bit about in-network providers. So listed in this packet that you either received or will receive is how you can look up to see if your provider's in-network. For medical, when you go through these exact steps, you'll want to make sure if you're on one of the PPO plans or high deductible, you'll select that traditional PPO network. If you're considering that EPO plan, you want to make sure you look at the Pathway PPO network to look at providers in that area. You don't need to know the specific plans. It's merely a network check. And if you're selecting the high deductible or PPO, those providers are in this network or the EPO in this other one. For dental, when you go through the process, you'll select the PDP Plus network, and for vision, it's the PPO plan. So that can help you kind of look at providers that are in or out of network of these plans, and that may help you also make a decision with your elections. I talked briefly when we got to the high deductible plan about a health savings account. As I mentioned, this is an account that you put money into each pay period. For 2021, the IRS limits are $3,600 if you're just covering yourself, or $7,200 if you also have dependents. If you are age 55 and older, you can add an extra 1,000 to those numbers. Also remember that you don't lose these funds. So if you don't use them all up in a year, it just continues to go on with you. Now, if you're on one of those PPO or EPO plans, you're not eligible for a health savings account. Health savings accounts are only paired with the high deductible. However, with the PPO and the EPO plans, you can take advantage of a flex spending account. This has an annual maximum election of $2,750 for the year 2021. The important part you need to realize with an FSA account is it is a use it or lose it. So if you do not have enough procedures, expenses, visits, that sort of a thing to cover that $2,750 for 2021, then you would lose out on those funds. And I do point out at this time of year, we're nearing the end. If you currently have an FSA account and you still have funds in there, make sure you make some of those appointments in the next few weeks so you don't lose out on the funds you may currently have. FSA accounts cannot be rolled from one account to another, so we would automatically open you up an account through our provider, Rocky Mountain Reserve, if you select a flexible spending account. If you select the health savings account, you currently have one and you wish to stay with the bank where your account is already in place, we do have a form that you can fill out that will provide us with the routing and account number. You return that to us and then we will not open an account for you. If on the health savings account, we don't receive that account information, we will automatically open one for you also through Rocky Mountain Reserve. Now, the flexible spending accounts also have a dependent care option. You can choose up to $5,000 that you can get pre-tax savings on should you have childcare or daycare needs. It is important to also make sure you know that those childcare and dental care or dependent care needs are going to be through 2021 and not go away if something happens with the pandemic. This year, they did allow a one-time change where people could stop their contributions because of the pandemic. And we know a lot of insurance or daycare and childcare centers were closing. So do just make sure that you do have the need for that before you enroll in one of those plans. We'd hate to see somebody lose funds because their child center closed. If you have questions or need further information about these, in the coming screens, there is going to be more information that you can read through, or we're happy to answer any questions as well. As I mentioned, more information here on the health savings account and what those expenses can be used for. If it is through our account, you do receive a debit card that you can use, or you can also submit your claims online. We highly recommend you download their mobile app called RMR Benefits to kind of keep track of everything, or you can also just create an account online as well. This is the form I refer to if you have your own HSA bank account. You would make sure you fill out this form and return it to us, and then that does prevent us from opening one up for you. FSA accounts cannot be transferred, so automatically we open those for you if you elect in that option. More information and tax savings examples is in here for the flexible spending account and dependent care accounts, and also a list of eligible, not eligible, or possibly eligible if you have prescriptions. All right, as we move back to the dental for just a moment, there's going to be more information in here if you'd like to look through some more of the specifics on the dental plans. There is a sheet for the high, the mid, and the low plan. And I like to point out this sheet here for as an example of what falls under basic and what falls under major. This can also help you decide which plan you might elect to choose. As you can tell under basic, maybe a child needs a sealant or you need a root canal, that's going to fall under major. So you can look through, see what falls in each and how many and often insurance is going to cover that. And that may help make your decision a little bit easier. More information in here as well about the vision benefits. Just know if you do go to Costco, which we find more people are choosing to do so, it is an $85 allowance for frames and not $150, but they do give you an additional 20% savings on anything else you spend over that $85 allowance. So a little bit different benefit there. And then as we move on, life insurance is the next option for you. perhaps you don't feel like you have enough current life insurance or you don't have any, this is a great time to add some. You can cover yourself for up to $150,000 without any medical questionnaire. You can go up to 500,000, but if you want anything between that 150,000 and 500,000, you would need to fill out a medical questionnaire to get approved for that amount. You can cover your spouse up to 25,000 without question, or up to a max of 100,000 with a health questionnaire. So if you did want your spouse to be covered at 100,000, you cannot cover a spouse for more than 50% of what you have. So you would have to cover yourself for 200,000 to get 100,000 on them, and you would both need to fill out that questionnaire. However, say you want to do 50,000 on your spouse, you could do 100 on yourself. You, no medical questions. Your spouse would just need medical questions for that additional 25,000. Children are covered a little bit differently. There are flat amounts you can choose up to a max of 10,000, and there's never any medical questionnaire on children. There is a sheet in here that you can use to see how much each of the different rates or each of the different options might cost you. It falls based upon 1,000 per and what age range you fall into. So you can see from this, you could figure out what some of those prices are. Also note though, when you go into the e-system, you can play around with the numbers and it will change the numbers based upon what you're electing. So if you don't want to do the math, simply go into the ease and it will calculate it for you. The next 4 plans to highlight are Colonial Life benefits. These are some great options that we encourage you to at least look through. The first one is a short-term disability plan. This is going to cover you should you need to be out for a medical situation on either a 3-month or 12-month benefit based upon which you choose. There is a 14-day waiting period on both of these. So generally people use their PTO sick time for those first 14 days, and then these benefits kick in. This is a little bit different plan. It's not at 60% of your salary like some short-term disability plans, but rather this one you select a specific benefit amount per month, and that's what you would be covered for. So say you want $2,000 a month for 3 months, find your age range here, and that would be your monthly cost. Again, some people choose to go the 12-month option. It's a little bit more like a long-term disability plan with that. And there's different amounts you can elect on these as well. It does have a 12-month pre-existing condition clause. So say, for example, you've already been diagnosed with some knees pain, you've done PT, you've kind of done everything you can do, and then all of a sudden the doctor says, nope, you need surgery. That would not be covered for this because you had been diagnosed to the knee problem prior to coming onto the plan. However, if it's brand new, you have a knee instance, you've never been treated for anything, then it would cover that. For any women, note that it does have that 12-month look back. So if you are looking to get pregnant and take advantage of this benefit, you would need to wait a year before you get pregnant for it to cover you for your maternity leave. The next plan, and usually our most popular one of these 4, is the accident insurance. This is going to cover anybody should they have a fracture, concussion, dislocation, anything like that. And the payouts are different depending on what occurs. You can cover yourself or anyone else in the family. And the most popular part of this plan is it does have a $100 wellness benefit. So as I mentioned earlier, your preventive care visits on all the plans are covered at 100%. So if you still do go get those wellness checks and preventative, like we encourage you to, you submit that to Colonial Life and they're going to give you $1,000 or $100 per calendar year. If you have 4 people in your family and you all go, that would be $400. So great benefit to take advantage of just by going to your wellness check. That money they give you could help pay for your premiums or whatever you choose. Note that with all of the Colonial plans, they will never ask you what insurance paid. They really don't care. They just want to know what happened, and based upon that occurrence and what plan you're on becomes the payout. For the critical care insurance, this is an option that you can choose either a $10,000 or $20,000 benefit. This is going to cover should you or someone you're covering is diagnosed with cancer, kidney failure, heart attack, stroke, anything in those lines, depending on which benefit you chose, would have that payout. Also note that down here, this pricing is correct. If you're going to cover yourself and you happen to have children, I would add them in. There's no additional cost. Same if you're covering you and your spouse, add your children in, and then the whole family is covered. The last one is a hospital confinement plan. This is going to cover you should you end up admitted to the hospital for any reason. These first two boxes are what you want to look at if you choose that high deductible plan. You can choose $1,000 or $2,000 benefit, and then there's also an accident-only emergency room payout as well. If you're on the EPO or PPO plans, you want to choose one of these bottom two boxes. Again, $1,000 or $2,000 benefit, and this plan also has a payout based upon some outpatient surgery procedures you might have. There's going to be further information as we scroll through the next few screens, but if you do have specific questions on the Colonial Life plans, we highly recommend you reach out to our representative, Melissa Cole. Her name and email is on this, and she can answer any specific questions you may have. When we look back at that accident one, a couple of the examples I highlight is, say you're taking your Christmas lights down and you fall and break your leg. Maybe insurance cost you $735. Colonial would pay you out $1,780 based upon everything that occurred. So a big difference there. Again, they don't ask you what insurance covered. They just give you the check and you do with it as you please. This is going to have some common injuries that may occur and some pricing based upon if it's surgery or non-surgery. So you break your wrist, it's non-surgery, it's a $450 payout, or you have surgery, it's $900. They also have payouts based upon if you have to travel far to go to a specialist hospital, follow-up care. If you break your wrist, you're going to have some follow-up visits. They're going to pay you up to 3 of those. So a lot of different payouts, a lot of different things that could occur. And then it also has, as I mentioned, that wellness benefit. Just note there is a 30-day waiting period. So if you do enroll in this plan, make sure you don't schedule your wellness visit with your provider until at least February. I would hate to somebody miss out on this just because of that 30-day waiting period. More information as well about the critical illness. And then when it comes to that hospital confinement, again, high deductible, $1,000 or $2,000 per day, and an accident-only emergency room visit. And then the PPO plans and EPO plans, same thing on the $1,000 or $2,000, but it's going to list some common outpatient surgical procedures, and those are based on a tier 1 or tier 2 level as to what the payout would be. So you have a colonoscopy, that's a tier 1, would be a $500. And then if you had something in these, cataract surgery, they're going to pay you out based on the tier 2. So lots of different ways there. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kasha, who's going to go through the last few benefit options.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Okay, so last few voluntary benefits. So the first one you see on the screen is Legal Shield. This is the company name and benefit name. This product assists with law planning areas of estate, family, financial, auto, home, and then they do offer a 24/7 emergency legal assistance line. Legal Shield does have an app, so you can pull legal type of forms directly from their site, and you can actually access the local law firm that they pair you with as well. So as Julie was speaking about those life insurance, term life type of benefits, this is a great product to pair with that as you are beginning to look at estate planning. So doing a living will or power of attorney. So I can tell you that my husband and I are in this process. Legal Shield paired us with a local law firm here in Denver. We reached out to them, letting them know our needs for estate planning. They sent us a 5-page questionnaire just asking about assets and general things that you see in a will. We will be completing that questionnaire, and then within 10 days, 10 business days, they will be providing us a legally binding will. They do recommend that we update that every year, but great product as you're looking at all of your benefits. Note that on the bottom left-hand side, this product is $17 voluntarily per month. That's for individual, family, that all-inclusive there. $25 per individual per month is what we typically see out in the market. So notice our cost savings there with the concurrent HRO partnership. Now, if you're looking for something more specific that may not be on this list of what Legal Shield may cover, you can visit benefits.legalshield.com/concurrent for more information. Now, the second plan is ID Shield, also the company and product name. ID Shield helps with identity theft protection. So they assist you with monitoring your information, providing alerts. They do unlimited consultation on credit reports, for example. They have a 1 million identity fraud insurance. So if you do have an alert that comes through on your account, you say, this is not me that made this purchase or had this credit check run, they will assist you in fighting that claim. And then if it does show as fraudulent, they will assist you in fighting and restoring that fraud with fraudulent insurance. So they also have a 24/7 emergency assistance line. This product also has an app. You can access this online or through the app, and this product is very customizable. So essentially, whatever information you want ID Shield to monitor, that's what they will do for you. So you would be determining if you want them to review your bank accounts, credit checks, addresses, general area that you live in, they can provide alerts for. So you pick that information that you want ID Shield to monitor. A lot of individuals are refinancing, purchasing homes right now. So this is a great product if you are looking to do that, just to make sure that your information is secure. We do take our information very secure here at Concurrent HRO. This product is also very similar to Legal Shield, where it is $25 per individual per month out in the market. And then with our cost savings for an employee only, it is going to be $8 voluntarily per month. And then for the family, it is $15 voluntarily per month. And as with Legal Shield, this product, if you do not see an item on this list on the screen that you are interested in having ID Shield covered, you can visit benefits.idshield.com/concurrent. Now, the final item I want to note is Working Advantage. So this product, you will not see this on the ease portal. Working Advantage essentially is a perk discount option. So this is more so as a thank you for our partnership today. And Working Advantage provides you with discounts to movie tickets, theme parks, hotels, shows, and shopping. So I know pre-pandemic, this was great to utilize for traveling, for personal business travel. One of our managing partners pre-pandemic, over a year and a half ago, went to Florida and he received 50% off of his rental car. So that was a great cost savings there. I know during the pandemic, I have gone on to Working Advantage and they have some great holiday shopping discounts. And then if you're at home with the family, they have some just ideas of things you can do around the house as far as, shopping and just activities there. So great product. And in order to sign up, you would go to workingadvantage.com, click on register at the very top of the screen. And at that point, you would be prompted to create an account with your email address and company code. So I'll draw your attention over to that middle photo. Right above it is the company code Concurrent. Okay, so we are beginning to wrap up the call today. Thank you for everyone's patience. I will turn it back over to Julie to go through some typical FAQs that we receive, things to know, reminders, and this is a great time to enter questions into the chat box if you have them, and Julie will be letting you know when you have time to unmute yourselves to answer questions if you prefer to speak those.
Thank you, Kasha. All right, as she mentioned, and we're wrapping up here, a couple reminders just to have. You should have those 2 emails. And again, if you do not or did not receive them, please make sure you email payroll or benefits. Note that with the emails, they do sometimes go to spam or junk folders, specifically if you have a Gmail account. So please check those spam or junk folders as well. And then make sure you go in and waive or enroll in each option. So even if you already know, I don't need any benefits, I don't need any of these plans, please take the few minutes to go in, complete the process, waive in each of the options, and then hit that finish button at the end. We do need to know that you have signed off that you know these benefits were available to you. As, excuse me, my voice is going out. As mentioned, we need all of your benefits completed by December 23rd. Same thing goes for that PRISM enrollment. We need to get you enrolled with the carriers ASAP as January 1st is quickly upon us. So if you can complete this process even by Monday, that would be strongly welcomed by us so that we can go ahead and pull accounts and get you all enrolled. As we mentioned, your benefits are effective January 1st to October 31st. No changes unless you have that qualifying event and to notify us within 30 days. Also, some notes here. Remember, you can have an FSA with a PPO or EPO plan, HSA with a high deductible, and those limits. And it's important to note that if your account is through us at Rocky Mountain Reserve, funds are not immediately available like on your payday. They're deposited once a week over to Rocky Mountain Reserve, and then they deposit them into the individual accounts. So depending upon how your payday falls and align with when we do all the uploading, it can be 7 to 10 days after. It is usually less than that, but we just like to highlight that for your planning purposes. As mentioned, you will receive an ID card from Anthem. We are very realistic in knowing that you will not have those Anthem ID cards in hand by January 1st, since we are so far into the month. And the postal system seems to be a couple of weeks behind, so we're kind of at their control as well. We will email over the last week in December your temporary ID cards so that you do have a card on hand should you need to seek treatment before that hard copy one comes. And then with that temporary card, you can go ahead and establish your Anthem accounts with that information as well. As mentioned, MetLife doesn't provide ID cards for dental and vision. And if you enroll in ID or Legal Shield, they will send you an email, sometimes something in the mail. Please make sure you're watching out for that email. This seems to be the one email people overlook. It doesn't make much sense to have ID Shield if you don't create your online account and tell them what you want them to monitor. I can tell you this process does work. I currently bought a new home with my husband, and I was getting alerts daily based upon who was doing credit checks and such. So it is a great program, but you do have to tell them what to monitor. So make sure you're just watching for their information as well. And then, as we mentioned, we strongly encourage you to reach out to us if you have questions or concerns, benefits at Concurrent, or there's our main number as well. So at this time, we do invite you to go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions that you'd like to speak as we wrap up the call today. All right, it looks like we don't have any questions at the moment. So if you think of something later, please feel free to reach out to us. We do want to thank you for taking time to be on this call today. We know everybody is very busy, and we hope you guys have a great weekend, and we look forward to partnering with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.